Hello and welcome to the Everyday History Podcast. I'm Dustin Lloyd, and with me as always is Tristan Boo Boo Kirby.
Hello.
There's Tristan Boo Boo Kirby. And today we are covering the Gliztastic history of the noble hot dog.
Oh boy, I love hot dogs.
Do you?
They're alright. They're mid. With some mac and cheese, they're good.
Love some mac and cheese.
Yeah,
on the dog or on the side? Okay. I didn't know if you get sloppy with it.
Sometimes I get a little sloppy. I get a nice chili dog. I throw a few spoonfuls of mac on top.
Yeah, chili mac dog.
It's hard as fuck to eat, but God, it's delicious.
What would you say your favorite hot dog toppings are?
Well, okay, let me just take you through a brief history.
Here we go.
I'm not very complicated. When I was little, it was, of course, always ketchup. I think that has to do with because ketchup is sweet. It's got all the sugar and stuff and blah, 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 blah.
It's almost like eating candy.
Right, like fat little fucking kids like to eat like me. And then, I get a little experimental when I'm older. I do a little ketchup and mustard, feeling a little bodacious. Get a little brave. Breaking the mold a little bit, testing my boundaries, dipping my toes in the mustard water. It's a little sour for my liking, but with ketchup, it balances out. I'll be honest, I got older and I think I got diabetic, so I don't really eat sugar. I don't really like
turn, as always.
It got dark. I apologize, listeners. But you know me by now. I think
it's becoming a trend. Like last week, it gets real dark real quick.
Well, this is light compared to last week. The topic went to death.
That's true.
Got morbid. This is just me neglecting to take care of myself. One might say I deserve it. Anyway, so I evolved to just mustard. And here recently, like within the last 2 years, I discovered I love onions on a hot dog, man.
Oh, yeah.
Mustard, chili, and onions, dude. I'm like fucking in heaven.
That's the holy trinity to me, too. Mustard, onion, chili. Mm-hmm. If I'm feeling adventurous, maybe some slaw to kind of cool out the heat.
I would like to try slaw on a hot dog sometime.
It makes it so much messier. So, you ready for the history of the noble hot dog?
Question before we get into the history. Am I gonna leave this hating and despising hot dogs?
I didn't. If anything, I wanted hot dogs more after the fact.
All right.
I'm straight up lying to you. I don't know how you'll feel at the end of this.
Damn you.
So to properly cover the history of the hot dog, we kind of have to go into a history of sausage. Sausages are what hot dogs, kind of descended from, so to speak.
Right, the hot dog's great-grandpapa.
It's part of the great lineage of the glizzy.
God.
So the first references we find to sausages go all the way back to Homer's epic, The Odyssey. Or is it just Odyssey? It's that epic tale, I don't know if it was a book or whatever, but I guess it was a book. But it was that epic
they called
story.
Them epics.
Yeah, I've heard that word thrown around for it. So yeah, but it was from the 7th or 8th century. The titular character, I love that word, titular. Odysseus, the main character, is described as lying in bed, quote, rolling from side to side as a cook would turn a sausage.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm sure it's referring to how flipping, a sausage, a burger, whatever, you flip it over. Mm-hmm. But I like to imagine he was just rolling in the same stationary spot like a hot dog on a hot dog roller at 7-Eleven. It, just nonstop keeps rolling. Until he's wrinkly and looks like Hulk Hogan's skin.
Oh, yeah.
All the 7-Eleven hot dogs look like Hulk Hogan's skin.
Got that crisp Floridian leather going on.
Oh, God. Oh. So, sometime later, around 65 AD, the infamous Emperor Nero had a cook named Gaius or Gaius. I want to say Gaius. He was given his own legend in the Annals of Sausage History.
Wow.
When it was said that he discovered them.
Huh?
Yeah. At the time, it was custom to starve pigs the week before roasting them. And according to myth and legend, one pig was roasted but wasn't cleaned. And by that, I mean they didn't pull the guts out.
Oh.
So Gaius ran a knife into the pig's belly to see if it was cooked, and to his surprise, the pig's swollen intestines popped out of the slit. You ready for a hot dog yet?
Oh, so what? They just saw that and he's like, yeah, man, that looks fucking great.
It sounds really gross. Moist, gross.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Engorged.
Anyway, supposedly after seeing this, he stuffed intestines with meat, ground wheat, and some other herbs, and then started tying them into sections. The intestine was essentially the lining, the casing of the first sausages.
Oh, now it sounds delicious.
Yeah, now it makes some sense, right?
Yeah, got some herbs and shit thrown up in there.
As opposed to just, raw dog and pig intestines.
I like to imagine he just saw the fucking intestines all full of shit and his mouth starts watering. I'd love to tie those off into sections and put them on a bun.
So as the centuries, went further, Europe enjoyed these classical glizzies, particularly Germany.
Oh, okay.
The Germans, known for their sausage loving.
Bratwurst.
Not Wurst.
Wiener Schnitzel, which has nothing to do with sausage, I don't think.
No, but it is fun to say. Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah, you hear the word Wiener, and you're like, yeah, it's a hot dog. Schnitzel? Well, that's obviously shit.
Oh, we have pissed off so many German listeners right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Duncan. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, God. Günther. The Germans created a shit ton of different sausages to pair with kraut and beer, so we're back to sauerkraut, sorry.
Oh, yeah. All right. But I heard beer, so maybe sauerkraut looks better after a few beers. It's like...
Everything else does, so why wouldn't it? Frankfurt, Germany. That name sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
Frankfurt, Germany, claims that they invented the hot dog, or Frankfurter, in 1487. They were so sure of this claim to hot dog fame that they threw a huge celebration in 1987 for the 500th anniversary. There's another place near Germany, Austria, Vienna, Austria, to be precise.
Vienna?
They say they invented the hot dog, or Wiener.
Oh.
In the late 19th century.
That's pretty late into the Wiener game.
Yeah, that means that the Frankfurter had already been around for centuries. But they point to Emil, I'm probably going to fuck up his last name, Emil Rachel,
okay,
and Sam Leideny. God, why can't everyone just have perfectly good English names?
Well, come on, would it kill you to just be named Smith?
They lived in Vienna when they created their modern hot dog. The truth of this, though, is even if they didn't invent the hot dog, they were the first to invent the Chicago-style hot dog.
And for those ignorant people, can you explain what a Chicago-style hot dog is?
Yeah, because most people would know what that is,
Yeah.
But
Chicago.
As smart as I am about hot dogs and stuff, I know exactly what's on the Chicago hot dog, and it's partly because I wrote it all down right here. It's a Chicago staple. Like, you go to Chicago and you want a Chicago dog, this is what you're going to get. Mm-hmm. It's got bright green relish, a pickle spear, tomato slices, pickled peppers, and celery salt. Those are like the iconic, Chicago claim to fame, so to speak.
Wow, that sounds like a whole meal.
Yeah, it's a lot of flavor going on, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And I'd be willing to try one.
I don't know if my little baby ketchup mustard palate would accept it.
These two glizzy gods went on to found Vienna Beef in Chicago, which is still pumping out beef pipes to this day.
Beef pipe? Shut the fuck up.
So yeah, Vienna Beef, the company they found in Chicago, is still up and operating. I looked at their website and I was not impressed, so I just moved on and didn't write any more notes about it.
Boring.
It might have been really cool. I can't remember, to be honest.
Yeah, if you like that kind of thing, I guess. But if you're thinking about glizzies, well, go get one. Don't just sit there and think about it.
Right, yeah. Just
treat yourself.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
So there's another name in the running for the title of the hot dog god.
Oh, boy.
And that's Johann George. Oh, what the fuck? Let's just call him Johann. It starts with a G.
Oh,
George.
wow.
Let's just say Georginer, because I think that's what it is. It's a dumb spelling. I'm betting he's from Germany. I just read ahead. Sorry to all of our German listeners.
We'll refer to him as Hans from here on out.
So, according to the stories, Johann was a butcher who lived in Coburg, Germany, roughly 100 years after the Frankfurter is claimed to be invented and such. He was allegedly promoting his food in Frankfurt, and that's how it allegedly came to be. I'm calling bullshit on it because there's nothing to really back it up other than a couple of loose sources.
Any historians, specifically of the Glizzy variety, if you could help us out, we would be indebted.
Yeah. I would love to talk to a well-esteemed hot dog historian, if there's any out there.
If you are out there and you happen to be listening and you do, for some reason, interact, I'd also be curious as to know what your favorite style of hot dog is and what the toppings are.
And if you're in Virginia, hit us up if you're a historian of hot dogs and let me know, and we'll actually meet you for a Frankfurt.
But you got to pay for it because
you've got to pay for it. We don't make any money on this.
So we'll pay for our own, but you got to buy your own. We're going Dutch on this one.
Speaking of the Dutch, we're going to move to another part of the world, England.
Oh. Close.
So throughout the late 19th century, Europeans began immigrating to the United States more and more, and it was a time when it was a reasonable investment to start an inexpensive sausage cart business.
Okay.
So food trucks and carts aren't really like a new concept, obviously. The carts go back. You can find like pictures of people like in New York City outside of baseball games and stuff selling hot dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a new concept, but in fact, like it goes back over 100 years.
Oh, wow. And
I've even found a report from the Duluth News Tribune from September 1894.
Wow.
Here it goes. And I don't know where Duluth is, so I'm giving this guy a southern accent. More numerous than the lunch wagon is the strolling salesman of the Red Hots.
Oh.
This individual is clothed in ragged trousers, a white coat and a cook's hat, and an unlimited cheek. I don't know what the fuck that means, and neither does Google. But he obstructs the night prowler at every corner. He carries a tank in which are swimming and sizzling hundreds of Frankfurters or Weiners.
Oh.
These mysterious denizens of the steaming deep are sold for 5 cents, which modest charge includes the allowance of horseradish and some other tear-producing substance.
Oh, God.
The horseradish, that's pretty interesting. I don't know if
Give me the
sauerkraut.
Give me the sauerkraut. I need the sauerkraut.
I'm the elephant in the room here for me is the fact that this guy's like so dramatic about this guy selling hot dogs. Like calling the hot dogs
hundreds of swimming red hots.
He calls them the mysterious denizens of the steaming deep.
Way to flare it up.
That's grade A journalism right there.
Right? Where has that gone? You know?
Yeah.
Like now it's just people exaggerate for the wrong reasons. Like, you know, a hot dog's not that good. Let's just be honest. I mean, okay, maybe I'm a bumpkin. I have lived in the country most of my life, but miraculous denizens. It's a fucking hot dog.
This is the kind of exaggeration we need back in media today.
Right, it's colorful. It sells you.
Yeah, it's got me. I don't care about a hot dog, even reading it, but man, he makes it sound like that is something.
I need a wiener between some buns ASAP.
And talking about the cook himself is like, he's the guy who obstructs the night prowler at every corner.
I like how he made him seem like a vagabond, like he's donned in rags and a white coat.
And then the next sentence, he's talking about how he's basically Batman. Stopping prowlers, throwing glizzies at him or something. I don't know. Where are they? Take a bite of my Wienerang. Here's some onions. Now you have my permission to cry. The old style glizzies, though, were different from the mystery paste tubes that we're used to today. You know, they were prepared in butcher shops and kitchens from a coarser grinded meat.
Okay.
So, different than the emulsified paste puppies we're used to now.
Emulsified paste puffs. God, Jesus. I like hot dogs.
But even today, what we call a hot dog is kind of vague. They can be beef, pork, chicken, or all three.
Yeah.
With or without casing, with cheese, with jalapenos. I've even seen jumbo size, bun length.
Those.
The list goes on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But by
Costco footlongs.
Oh yeah, for $1.25. I have not been in a Costco in 20 years. What is a hot dog, right? Like, what's the actual definition of a hot dog? I went to the Oxford Companion to American Food and Drink, which is basically a dictionary on food.
Okay.
And it says, hot dogs are made from emulsified or finely chopped skeletal meats, but contain organs and other variety meats.
Oh.
So if there's a more subtle way of saying it contains a trace amount of asshole meat, I'd like to see it.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Are you eating a hot dog right now?
No. No. That is crazy. Ground up skeletal.
Oh, skeletal meat, I assume, refers to like the muscle in an animal that would be attached to the bone, I guess.
Yeah, like cartilage.
Like leg, or legs, shoulders, knees, and toes, things like that.
Yeah. God, this took a dark turn.
Oh, it's about to get worse, my friend.
Oh, God.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out where the name hot dog came from.
Yeah, I am curious about that. How we go from Frankenfurter and Wiener to hot dog.
The name hot dog is so contentious that a 300-page book titled Origin of the Term Hot Dog was published in 2004 by a man named Harry Popick, as well as, it was three people. Harry Popick, Dave Sholin, and Dr. Gerald Cohan.
Okay.
He's a professor of foreign language at the University of Missouri Rolla. That sounds real. They discovered that the word hot dog arose in 1894 or 1895 from the slang of Yale University students.
Whoa. Like the prestigious Yale?
Yale University, yeah. So that's interesting to me because that means even in the late 1800s, college students were just making up words and slang like we would today. That's where hot dog came from. And the reason they called it a hot dog was because there was a belief at the time that dog meat could turn up in the sausages.
Oh, my God.
But the problem is that this wasn't completely unfounded.
Oh, shit. What?
Some butchers of the day would actually buy dog meat and use it.
What? Oh, no.
Like I said, it appears that college students have been known for a sense of humor and bad taste, and that led to hot dog being used instead of hot sausage.
No shit.
Finally, when it comes to like different terms for the sausage, for the hot dog, where did we get the word glizzy?
Glizzy. Yeah, I'm curious. That's a more modern one, right? That's like these internet kids.
So from what I can find, it started in the Washington, D.C. area in reference to a gun around 2016. But there's evidence that it was used as early as 2013 to reference hot dogs, and some refer to hot dogs as Glocks. But at the end of the day, I couldn't really find a solid answer. But the word glizzy makes me laugh because I'm a child.
Right.
And it's my preferred term, even if nobody knows what I'm talking about at places.
The double barrel boing boing, baby.
The one thing that separates hot dogs from sausages in terms of like their appearance, like there's a lot of different, but basically a hot dog is just a sausage, right?
Right.
So what kind of separates them is that a hot dog always comes on a bun. You just slap it in between them cheeks.
Okay, whereas a sausage is versatile.
Yeah.
Used in dishes. And
for a long time, the hot dog was treated as just another sausage variation. So there was no bun in the beginning. Yeah.
Dark, depressing times.
So that would change when a brilliant inventor created a bun that was perfect for the wiener to slide into.
Don't say slide into.
But you must be asking, who is this brilliant person, though, right? Like, this guy changed the game as far as glizzies go.
Some say brilliant, I say pervert.
Yeah. Well, that might be why we don't know who it is. There's several people, as with the hot dog, there's several claims to the invention of it. So there's no solid evidence to support who the first person to serve the glizz on a bun was. But one of the strongest claims comes from a food connoisseur named Harry M. Stevens.
That sounds fake.
Yeah, that name, again, choose something like Smith. Stevens doesn't sound real.
Almost.
But he was born in 1855. Not only did Stevens sell hot dogs, I'd be lying if I said he didn't at least resemble a plump hot dog himself. But joking aside, the man was a hell of a marketing genius. He immigrated to Niles, Ohio in 1882.
Beautiful town.
Yeah, never been.
Nah, me either.
I'm sure it's gorgeous.
It's in Ohio. Come on.
And I don't remember where he originally came from. It says he immigrated here. I forgot where he immigrated from, but it's not really important, I guess. He worked as an iron worker before finding employment as a traveling book salesman.
Oh, wow.
And in the late 1880s, he made the journey to Columbus, Ohio to check out this hot new sport called baseball.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're, not a first-time listener, if you listen to our other episodes, we just did an episode on the home run, and baseball's back again.
Yeah, baseball. You remember how excited I was on that episode? Yeah, baseball.
And I swear, not every episode will have a baseball tie-in.
Oh, bullshit. You guys make sure you call him on that.
Yeah, keep track of baseball references in the next few episodes, just to see if I'm lying. So he bought a scorecard, when he went to a game, but he found it was kind of lacking. It didn't include enough stats. It was bland. So he made his own and started selling copies of it. It had an illustrated cover on the outside, and on the inside it had the players' names, positions, and stats and all that. And on the back of this, he put an ad, for whatever business wanted to sponsor it. So this design became so efficient, and basically they still use it today. Like, it's not the exact same because things have changed. It's more modernized, but it looks very similar to what his concept was. Like, it's a timeless concept, apparently.
Captain Glizzies Wiener and Dildo Emporium.
I believe that was one of the second ads that they ran. Great Chicago company. So he later expanded his business to Toledo, Milwaukee, and Pittsburgh before creating his own stadium concession stands, which he creatively called Harry M. Stevens Incorporated. And if you fast forward to 1900, he had secured contracts to supply refreshments to several major ballparks. So why am I rambling about this bullshit?
Yeah, why?
Well, partly to run up the time of this episode, but mostly to solidify the facts about this guy, to give a little more credibility to his claims. So according to Stevens, at a Giants home game in 1901 on a cold April day, he found there was a limited demand for the ice cream they normally sold. So he opted to sell German Dachshund sausages, which is another word for the many variations of German sausages. But he instructed his staff to place them in rolls.
Like a dog?
Like a dog. After they ran out of wax paper, he told them to use rolls. And he called them Red Hots. And another legend states that a German immigrant whose first name isn't recorded, but he had the surname, you're going to love this, Furtwanger.
Definitely a Hans.
He originally was from Frankfurt, because why wouldn't he be?
Right, he's a hot dog guy.
Yeah, he sold his glizzies on the mean streets of St. Louis.
God damn it, dude.
And allegedly provided his customers with gloves so they could carry the wieners without burning their hands.
Yeah, very hot.
When this alleged business genius realized he was losing money because, surprise, they weren't returning the gloves, his wife suggested using rolls instead.
God, you're so brilliant. Just use the fucking bread as gloves. So the bread was basically brought in from, if I'm hearing this right, it was brought in as a means just to hold the hot dog, not actually to, I guess you can eat the bread, of course, but like, its purpose wasn't to have bread with hot dog, right? It sounded like...
Yeah, it wasn't like a culinary choice. It was more of I keep buying these gloves and they won't return them, but how else can they hold them without getting their hands all greasy?
Oh, honey, I have an idea. Why don't you just make a mini loaf of bread and cut it down the middle, and then you can just slide your wiener in?
Heavens, are you talking about anal?
By the gods, woman, don't speak like that out in public.
I don't know if you could hear the slapping.
Yeah, I heard this. I love you, husband.
All right. So a variation of this story says another person with the same last name, but they gave him a first name, Antoine Furtwanger. It's funny how he had no first name in the first version, but then he has one now. And actually, he also had another name with a middle name in this story. It could be Antoine Furtwanger or Anton Ludwig Furtwanger. So yeah, they not only gave him a first name, but someone was like, that's not believable enough. Let's give him a middle too.
Yeah, every man needs three names.
He was selling sausages at the World's Fair. It was either at the 1904 Louisiana Purchase Exposition in St. Louis, whatever the fuck that means, or the 1893 Columbian Expo in Chicago.
Ooh.
And again, the story comes to the white gloves that were being kept by customers. And we like to think that we're smarter than people were of the past, but are we really? These people may have invented hot dogs, but I know people that struggle to reheat one.
I haven't owned a pair of gloves since I was a child. I'd definitely be one of those assholes like, sweet, free gloves. Thanks, idiot.
So I personally kind of have a hard time believing that the gloves even were a thing in the first place because it seems so impractical.
That's just so funny to imagine people eating a naked wiener with just gloves.
Just a white glove, like pinky out.
Right. Chewing on it like a rabbit on a carrot.
Right. Eating it like a corn on the cob.
Heavens, this glove is so nice. Use it as a napkin after. I think I'll keep this.
And if someone offended you, you could take it off and smack them with it and declare some sort of fight.
Oh, make them break out because you got all the glizzy grease on their face.
Oh, he just a hard slap, too.
So you've got glizzy grease all over my blouse.
So I could be wrong about the glove thing not being a thing, but if, like we always say, if you have serious evidence that this was a thing, send it to us, and I will definitely correct it.
Please.
So far, I found nothing.
I love being wrong and not feeling right about things. Please correct me, please.
Well, like I said in the first episode, we are not historians by any means.
Probably the furthest things from it, actually.
Yeah, so if we're wrong, call us out because we will correct it because we do want to be accurate and entertaining. And
but
so far, we failed.
I have an ego, so please approach us right.
You will hurt his feelings, but not mine, so it's okay.
Very sensitive, okay? Please.
Anyway.
Good. Yeah, sorry. Moving on.
Be gentle. To one finger first. Anyways, I got one more origin story, I promise. I'm not going to promise because I can't remember for sure. Allegedly, this is going to be the last one. Allegedly. So, researching this particular guy, I found some interesting stuff. So this is going to be another deep dive. Okay. And I will not be shamed for it.
I don't judge you.
Feel free to send in your shaming at any of our social media platforms. Charles Feltman was born in 1841 in Germany, immigrated to New York in 1856 when he was just 15 years old.
Oh, wow, okay.
And as with most hip German children at the time, he was familiar with the Glizzy, as it was named for the city in his homeland, which we have pointed out way too many fucking times today.
Right.
And
yeah.
I would like to point out that since it's mentioned in almost every legend of the hot dog, I'm going to say that's probably where it came from.
Yeah, at least the practice and the distribution, because, I mean, a one-off comment and a story about how a dude turns, like how a chef flips a sausage, like, that could also be, like, some modern iteration, like, you know what I mean? Like, it could just be a modern metaphor of sorts for whoever translated it. Because I'm going to go out on a limb, my friend, and say you've never read the Odyssey in Greek, right?
No, absolutely not.
Me either. I read it in English.
I never read it
Oh
at
Brother,
all.
Where Art Thou?
I've seen Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, but I've never watched or never read the Odyssey.
Real quick before you get into this deep dive, I do have a question. Were you able to ascertain through your research, was the Glizzy a upper class food? Was it like a everyman food, or was it poor? Like, because, you know, you think hot dogs now, and it's like, I'm pretty sure every poor person's with me. Hands in the air, like that's a staple of my child. You know, like that got me through many nights. That's a cheap food that, you know, you can buy, not in bulk, but I mean you get packs of like 8, 10 for however much. I don't fucking know. I haven't bought hot dogs in forever. But like that's what I'm trying to get. Is it still like how today, you know, a Glizzy is like not poor people food, because I don't want to like divide it up into classes, but you know what I mean. Like, you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah. I do. I've actually got an answer for that. It was, from what I can see, it was an everyman food, so to speak. Like, anybody would eat it. But because it was cheap, it was, you know, probably more the poor people that would buy it.
Yeah.
However, I have an interesting story, because while you were asking that, I went ahead and double-checked some stuff, and I did not see this story before, so we're going to hear this for the first time from both of us.
Woohoo!
The title of this article is from the Smithsonian Magazine.
Oh, boy. So you know it's credible.
And from June 12th, 2017, so it's a while back, and I don't see anything that disputes it. The title of this article is When Franklin D. Roosevelt Served Hot Dogs to a King.
Okay, there's a lot happening there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, apparently, from the quick read I've done on this, there was a British ruler, King George VI. He visited Franklin D. Roosevelt,
Okay.
And, in America, in Washington. And they went on a sightseeing tour of Washington, a formal state dinner, a big bash at the British Embassy, all the pomp and circumstances and all that.
Sure.
But apparently they had a picnic where the king had his first ever hot dog.
His first ever? This man has been a fucking king of a country. Never tried a hot dog, folks. That's interesting.
The headline in the New York Times the next morning says in bold print, King tries hot dog and asks for more.
King can't get enough of that glizzy goodness. Okay, he wants more. Oh, by the gods, man. Oh, what did you say? This is a hot dog. Brilliant. Brilliant.
You call it a wiener and you stick it between the buns.
Love all the metaphors, the innuendos. It's all around brilliant, chap. Brilliant.
How wonderfully uncouth.
Oh, shit.
But according to the reporter who wrote this article, or not this article, but the one who wrote the New York Times article, he said that the king enjoyed his 2 hot dogs with beer and away from prying eyes.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, of course. Someone as respectable with a reputation like the king, you can't be seen fucking deep-throating a glizzy. I mean, just what would that say? Not that there's anything wrong with it, but you got to think about the time, this man's position, the phallic nature of the food in question.
I just imagine, like, the queen with him being like, George, don't eat it in public. You'll shame God.
God is watching, George. Please. Stifle yourself.
You're making Jesus cry.
She said 7 Hail Marys. She's super fucking upset.
So no reporters were present and regular photographers were banned. He's having this private sausage, this private hot dog in the middle of a park. Oh my God.
Making a whole thing out of it, clearing the whole fucking public place for people. Like, hey, King eating glizzies here. Step the fuck out.
Secret Service holding everybody up like, this is a matter of national security. I'm going to need everyone to stand back.
Look away. Oh my God. Is that man in a crown deep-throating a hot dog? I said nothing to say here. Oh, what fun. That is crazy, man. But to be serious for a second, how crazy is that to think that a man can run a country and never try some of the food that is undoubtedly,
at least commonplace everywhere, I would imagine.
Right. Like, you can probably find different styles, different dressings, blah, 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 and this guy's like, what the fuck's a hot dog? I've never heard of a hot dog before.
Here's where it gets even more funny. So also from this New York Times article, there's another writer named Dan Barry who also covered the incident. He wrote, in the former language of diplomacy, perhaps, the presentation of the hot dog may say, on behalf of the United States of America, maybe offer you this tubular delight of meat byproducts, curing agents, and spices.
Wow.
But what it's really saying is, how you doing? You want a beer?
Oh my God. Wow. So another thing I'm taking away from today's topic is when people fucking write about hot dogs, dude, they go all in. They give them the best flary fucking language, like tubular meat with blah blah and spices. Like, man, what? It's a fucking hot dog.
Plot
but
twist.
It sounds so delicious.
Plot twist. It was all written by a hot dog.
Damn it.
So I hope that kind of answers the question, because I couldn't find anything saying that it was looked down upon by royals or anything like that. It was offered to the king by a president. So,
well, FDR, I guess, is close enough to where I'd say that's like modern. It's not modern, but you know what I mean. It's like modern history in the sense of like, to think that like I wouldn't say it's like so antiquated. Right, it's not yesterday by any means, but it's close enough. The leader of your country doesn't even know the foods you're fucking eating at night. And that just kind of shows me the disparity between, look, I'm just using random words now. I'm trying to say is like, there's just a huge difference between like your upper class, your rulers and like the people that make you the rulers,
right.
This dude's so taken back by a hot dog, which people here have eaten fucking a lot. Like,
yeah,
it's just crazy. It just makes me think.
I mean, that was a great question. And it led us to some material we didn't know about, so.
Right.
Oh, so we're gonna get back to this last guy. We're gonna do this big deep dive. Like I said, yeah, he was, he's familiar with the Frankfurter. That's where we left off. So anyway, Feltman began his restaurant business with a push cart pie wagon. That's such a weird word. On the beach of Coney Island in 1867. So basically, he made a living selling fresh pies to the hotels on the beachfront, which probably was a pretty sweet gig, honestly.
Right.
But his customers were just not satisfied with that. They suggested he add sandwiches to his menu as well. So he added a little charcoal stove to the cart, which he called the Bloomer Dropper. All right, he didn't really
totally canon. No. He called it that.
He did not actually name the wagon. I'm sorry, I just couldn't resist. But he did call his pork sausages, which he served on rolls, penises. No, I'm joking. He called them red hots.
Red hots.
Red hots, and later called them hot dogs. And just gonna add for accuracy, I can't find anything that like from that time frame to solidify all that. But I mean, the story that this was his beginnings. It's just whether he named the things red hots and all that, hot dogs. Nothing to solidify that he's the one that did it. He could have gotten it from someone else, is what I'm trying to say.
Right, he just stole someone else's story. You know, I hate those kind of people.
Well, it would only be the names. He didn't steal the background. Like he did all this stuff happen. It's just that the name Red Hots and the name Hot Dogs and even the rolls, might not have been actually him, but he never really claimed it either. He wasn't one of those people to claim it.
Okay.
Later on in the 1920s, a New York historian, Henry Brown, explained what was so appealing about his hot dogs. And here we're going to get another out there quote. So here we go. It could be carried on the march, eaten on the sands between baths, consumed on a carousel, even used as a baby's nipple to quiet a crying infant.
Shut the fuck up.
And had other economic appeals to the summer pleasure seeker. Wow. So what I got from this is that Mr. Brown was a sick fuck.
Right? Why are you letting a baby suck the wiener?
Yeah, he's saying you could pacify a baby by sticking a hot dog in its mouth. What the fuck?
Oh my God, here you go.
Oh. Don't bite, that hurts the bitty.
Oh my God. Does Bono want the bitty? Holy shit, dude. Oh. Wow. And again, the language is just so flary. Like, they just make it sound like it is the perfect fucking food. Like, it is peak human food.
I love how normal all of it sounds until he gets to using it as a nipple to pacify a baby.
Yeah, anything after that, I was just like,
but he ends it with, it appeals to the summer pleasure seeker.
You don't use baby sucking as a nipple and pleasure seeker in the same sentence.
No, and that's why I think this man was a pervert.
Right. Someone, and this is supposed to make your shit more appealing? What, that I can stick it in my infant's fucking mouth and it'll shut up?
And that's the thing. He was a historian. He had no connection at all to the hot dog business himself.
Oh my God.
He was just a really big fan.
Huge hot dog fan over here.
Huge wiener fan.
Hey, shut that fucking cat up.
So back to Charles Feltman, who was not a sick fuck who liked to watch, babies suck on glizzies.
Right, modest.
By 1871, he had leased some land and began working on his restaurant complex. So while he was building this business, he was also building up a actual restaurant complex.
Okay.
So in its heyday, which would have been in the 20s, over 5 million people a year were being served.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, even after his death, which he died in 1910, so he wasn't even the owner anymore. He passed, but they maintained his standards and everything. And so, yeah, in the 1920s, over 5 million people a year.
Wow.
That
is a lot of Venus.
Now here's an interesting twist and why I included all this in this story. There was a worker there who his job was to slice the rolls, right? Because they sold a lot of fucking hot dogs. Right. He started working for Feltman himself when he was still alive, and his name was Nathaniel Handworker. And a handworker is such a weird name, isn't it?
Yeah, I know what I think when I hear handworker.
Oh, yeah. So in 1916, he and his wife, Ida, had spent their life savings of $300, which is equivalent to $8,000 today, just so it doesn't sound like, wow. They opened their own small little hot dog stand on Coney Island to kind of compete, right? undersold. They sold it cheaper because I think it was 15 cents for the hot dogs at the complex.
With all the fixings.
Yeah, and Mr. Handworker, he was only charging a nickel.
Oh, you fuck.
His wife came up with a recipe for these hot dogs. All they had was just a 2-foot grill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Small little hot dog stand. Eventually, they named their hot dog stand Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs.
I've heard of those.
Oh, they're the best in my opinion. That's not an advertisement. They are not sponsored. Nathan's hot dogs are my favorite. And most people out there listening, I'm sure, have heard of them. And if you haven't even tried one, you've for sure seen the hot dog eating contests on TV every 4th of July, because that's been around since 1972. And if you haven't been living under a rock all this time, you know what that is.
Nah, that is crazy how they soak the bun in water.
Oh yeah, it's a spectacle of just gluttony.
Yeah, it's you're such a sinner, but I can't stop watching.
While eating hot dogs like a normal person myself while watching. I haven't actually watched one in a long time, but yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Sitting there eating a hot dog. It's so much better than you fucks.
So, thank God that's the end of our history today.
That's it?
Yeah, that's where we're going to stop, because really that's the history of the modern hot dog. I don't know how else to explain. There's only so many ways I can say Frankfurter and Frankfurt, Germany.
So, in conclusion, we walked away with a couple of things that I have anyway. Number one, it seems like Frankfurt, Germany, kind of the king. I'm going to unofficially give them the crown and call them the king of Glizzies.
I'd say that's the hot dog hometown.
Just because, like you said earlier, it's mentioned so many times, it's kind of hard to deny after a certain point. Okay, man, all these motherfuckers are coming from Frankfurt. What are the odds? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's mentioned several times throughout other people's biographies. The people that claim to invent the hot dog, their names cross with Frankfurt, Germany over and over and over. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we may not know the exact person that first invented it, but we do know probably where it started at. And I'd have to say I agree with you. It's definitely got to be Frankfurt, Germany, and I'd be willing to back that down if anyone's got better proof.
Yeah, and until proven otherwise, we're going with that. Number two. Boy, when people write about hot dogs, only people that love hot dogs seem to write about them, and they have some colorful language. I just want a hot dog so bad now.
Hot dogs, from what we've read today, have the greatest PR team in journalism, because I've never seen anything written about with such enthusiasm.
I know.
I feel like if we invented a cure for cancer today, it would not be written about as flowery as these hot dogs are written about.
No, they'd be two boneheads who aren't even historians cure cancer. Yay. But check out this hot dog. It's so beautiful. Tubular. Meat. Yay.
It slides down the throat.
The casing delivers a nice crunch that will make you swear you just stepped into heaven every time you take a delicious bite, loaded with onions, mustard, chili, and a little bit of ketchup for some sweetness if you're not a baby.
And I was not put off by the putrid smell of the mystery meat that I swallowed.
Pacify your baby with my wiener.
Oh, no.
Okay, you gotta cut that out.
Cut that.